Hi guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you have not yet done so already, and if you get anything from my work, a connected dot, an epiphany, a mind explosion, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work. All the links are at the bottom of the description of this video. And if you're a business owner and you have business cards, I make business card holders. Fun new ones. Pyramids. This is from yesterday. Pyramids. These are different types of pyramids that I'm making. This is about like 5 pounds. It's heavy. Hearts, skulls, all that fun stuff, and oil paintings and commission drawings. AllyKatzkreations211.com. I'm hoping by the weekend I can update my website with some of the newer stuff that I've been doing. Yeah, got to get there. But in the meantime, I'm showing you guys, so if you like anything, please email me. I do everything privately. Personal survival. Letters from heaven. Or sixth density, as they say. We'll see what they have to say. It shall be interesting. And just like Letters from Hell, amazing read from that. Amazing. We shall see what life has in store for us, where we already are. We're already there, guys. Soul is, at least. In 1909, the mother of Reverend G. Dale Owen, Vicar of Oxford, Lancaster, England, passed over to the other side. In 1913, his wife developed the power of automatic writing, and through her, he received a request that he himself would sit quietly with a pencil in his hand and take down any thoughts which seemed to come into his mind, projected there by any external personality and not consequent on the exercise of his own mentality. From these writings developed the 4 volumes comprising The Light Beyond the Veil, describing life in the astral, from the first of which, The Lowlands of Heaven, we requote in this chapter as follows. Quote, a few words of the conditions we found when we are arrived here, the conditions, that is, of those who pass over here when they first arrive. They are not all of the same spiritual degree of development, of course, and therefore require different treatment. Many, as you know, do not seem to realize the fact that they are what they would call dead, because they find themselves alive and with a body, and their previous vague notions of the after-death state are not by any means lightly thrown away. The first things to do then with such as these is to help them to realize that they are no more in the earth life, and to do this we employ many methods. One is to ask them whether they remember some friend or relative, and when they reply that they do so, but that he is dead, we try to enable them to see their particular spirit, who, appearing alive, should convince the doubter that he had already passed over. This is not always the case for the ingrained faculties that are obstinate, and so we try another method. We take him to some scene on earth with which he is familiar and show him those left behind and the difference in his state and theirs. If this should fail, then we bring, sorry guys, his Geez Louise, his recollection, the last experiences he underwent before passing, and gradually lead up to the time when he fell asleep. Then we try to connect up that moment with his awakening here. All of these endeavors often fail more often than you would imagine, for character is built up year by year, and the ideas which go to help in this building become finally embedded in his character. Also, we have to be very careful not to overtax him, or it would delay his enlightenment. Sometimes, however, in the case of those who are more enlightened, they realize immediately that they are passed into the spirit land, and then our work is easy. I fear many of you, when you come over here, will be shocked to see how very natural all things are, even if more beautiful than on earth. So many expect to find a vague, shadowy world over here, totally diverse from earth in every way. And yet, come to think of it, and with common sense, what good would such a world be to us? It would mean not a gradual process for us, but a vast leap, and that is not the way of God. I'm going to put a pause here because I don't want to lose what I have going on up here. This is Sophia. Yeshua is talking to the disciples about the people's behavior in the real life, to let them, repent, and they do something again and again, and they repeat and repent. And then as they physically go, they are going up to as far in the light as they're going to withstand, and then they get off. Just think about this ascension process in the same way. Let's say you are passing in this vehicle. You're not going to keep on going in the vehicle. You're going to get a new one eventually. Your death state, when you are transcending into the bigger consciousness of your higher self, and you're going up into the light, you're going to get off where you're supposed to be. And those are the sub octaves, the vibratory states of where your soul is sitting vibratorily. It's going to be higher because you're ascending, but some people are just a degree above where you are in human form. That's a lower astral. So many people who are in this state that are not awakened and aware of what happens, because you're not aware, you're just floating. And it took my father 9 years of human linear time space to reach out to me. Although he knew that I had gifts and abilities after he passed, it took him a long time to learn, to heal, to go through things, to be shown, okay, you're dead. You can let go of that experience. And now that you know that your daughter is like, hi, what I am, we're going to help you get in contact with her. And finally, after 9 years, through a medium that just happened to pass away, and I do hear him once in a while, my father is very much able now to communicate with me and to come here. And sometimes you see me tear up. That's my parents. My mom didn't take that. She's still healing and learning, so she hasn't been coming down as often, but a fractal of her is always with me. But she too took a bit of time to be able to show me signs that she's here. Because she was aware of what I did in her death state, she didn't linger. She actually ascended knowing that I'm passing her on, and that's a beautiful thing. But there should never be fear of where you're going to be, because once you're aware of the consciousness that if you die in your vehicle, this is a vehicle, and you ascend, you're getting off where you need to be, because you're going to have other lessons and transitions, transmutations while you're up there in that in-between state of you just died, and it's a shock to your system because now your energy is a whole new ball of fun and enlightenment. and it's going to take you some time to get used to it. Then they'll start, your higher selves, your guides, your angels, and all the other aspects that make you up are going to start introducing you as your soul's energy is ready to learn. It takes time, and everybody's in a different state. It took my uncle, who did himself off way before I was born. I've been told 2-3 years ago to actually see the light. He's still in healing. He's lingering because he was attached to the material world. He was in the lower astral, not knowing, not seeing, not being able to heal, and not having the foresight to look and go in deep and learn the lessons. It sometimes does take the will, even after you're dead, to want better for yourself. That's the hell that we were looking at. It's the hell in the state of being, the state of consciousness, the state of mind. It's a mind. It's a state of consciousness. Hell is a state of consciousness. And if you're not going according to the plan of source and nature, you're going to be put into those states to learn. We're doing this here now in the physical while we're conscious. So take advantage. Back to the book. Many things here when we first arrive are certainly different from those of the old life, but not so different as to make us feel dumbfounded by their strangeness. Indeed, those who come over after living on unprogressive life on earth find themselves in spheres of so gross a character as to be them indistinguishable from earth itself. That is one of the reasons they are not able to realize that they have changed their state. As you progress through the lower spheres into the higher, this grossness gradually gives place to more rare conditions, and the higher you go, the more sublimated the environment. But few, if any, pass into those spheres where no trace of earth is seen or no likeness to the earth life. I doubt if, as a rule, any do, but of this I must speak dogmatically, for I have not myself reached or even visited a sphere where there is no likeness to God's beautiful earth. Earth is but one manifestation further outward from our own spheres, and in turn with us in our present environment in many very intimate ways. Were it not thus, we would be communing with you at this moment. It would probably be utterly absurd to many to be told that here we have real solid houses and streets, mountains and trees and animals and birds, and that animals are not here for ornament alone, but also for use, and that horses and oxen and other animals are put to use. But they seem to enjoy their work, which makes one glad to watch them. As we gaze out over the wide plains and valleys of the heavenly land, we are scarce able to remember the effect of the atmosphere of earth as it had relation to our vision of terrestrial things, but we do remember certain qualities which are here absent. Distance is not obscured. For instance, it fades away. Trees and plants do not appear for a season and then die, but bloom perpetually, and then when they are plucked, they are fresh for a long time, but they do not droop and wither. They too fade away into the atmosphere. This atmosphere is not always white. It is not a mist and does not always obscure, but bathes all things in its golden radiance without invading the various colors themselves. In other places, it is a faint pink or blue, and every region has its own peculiar tint, a sense of color, according to the nature of the people and their employment and bent of mind. One of the things that matter here is that due proportion be meted out, because wisdom and love, these are not contrary the one to the other, but are two great phases of one principle. For love is to wisdom as the tree is to the leaves. And if love actuate and wisdom breathe, then the fruit is healthy and sound. Light is not always conducive to peace, but it is passive, but in its passive creates a sense of vibrations which often bring destruction to those species of living creatures which are not fashioned to survive in the light of the sun. Let them go, and your eyes will become accustomed to the greater light, the beauty of love of God, the very intensity of which, blended as it is with infinite wisdom, is perplexing to those who are not altogether in the light. Our home over here is very bright and beautiful, and others from the higher spheres continually descend and visit us to cheer us on the upward way. These higher companions are visible to others when they wish to be, and according to the development of those they wish and visit. Heart-a-line, like I said, you're in every dimensional density space that is in existence in fractal form, in other vehicles, in other planes of existence and consciousness and light bodies. And we're already up there. We're already in spirit. And when we wake up there, you're going to look back at this as if it was just a dream. That's how perplexing this transformation and this energy ball that we are is. We're in such dense, limiting separateness here. We can't, well, not say that we can anymore. A lot of us can equate that we're already in spirit because we've seen it. We've been there. Your physical vehicle is what needs to be here in order for things to shift and for your lessons to be learned. If you don't learn them, you're going to have to repeat them, and it gets harder when you get up there because things are different, things change. Time-space is no longer time-space continuum, linear down there, up there. It is space-time in a different equation. Passing scenes. Quote, we will tell you of a scene which we witnessed not long ago. We were told that a ceremony was about to take place in a certain wide plain not far from our home, at which we might be present. It was the ceremony of initiation of one who had passed the gate of what we call prejudice. That is, prejudice against those who are not of his particular way of learning. No, there are going to be a lot of people in that plane. And who was about to go forth into a wider and fuller sphere of usefulness. That's Freya. Oh, Freya, come here. Come here, Mama. She's co-host number 4. I'm so upset she moved. I wanted her closer so you can see her. Hang on. Employed feathers. Let's see if she comes back. We found a great many people arriving from all directions. Some came on foot, others in horse-drawn chariots, without reins and guided by mind power. Others came by aerial flight without the use of wings. We began to sing, and although no instrument was visible, yet instrumental music blended with our singing and became one with it. It was very beautiful and served both as a reward to those who had earned it, and a spur to those who had still to tread the path. The music proceeded from a temple grove outside the circle and seemed to be part of the atmosphere. When they had all gathered, a circle was made and one stepped out, the one who was to be initiated, and he wore a robe of orange color, not like the color as you know it. None of our colors are. An experience. The initiate took me by the hand and led me away. We walked for a little time, and then I felt my feet leave the ground, and we went through the air. I was not afraid, for his strength was given to me. We descended into a city where I had not been before. I soon made out that we were in a garden surrounding a large building. The building seemed all of one piece of material of different hues, pink and blue and red and yellow, which shone like a gold but softly. My allergies, my goodness. Up the stairs we went, and at the great doorways, without any door to it, we met a very beautiful lady, stately but not proud. She was an angel of the house of sorrow. The sorrow is not of those who dwell there, but is the lot of those to whom they minister. The sorrow ones are those on earth, and it is the business of the resident of this house to send them to the vibrations which they have the effect of neutralizing the vibrations of sorrowful hearts on earth. You must understand that here we must get at the bottom of things and learn the cause of things, and that it is a very deep study. Our occupation varies according to the needs of those to whom we minister. It is very varied, but directed to the uplift of those who are still in earth life. This then is my present phase of service, and a very happy one it promises to be. But I have only just begun to understand the prayers which are brought to us here and registered, and the sighs of those in trouble we hear, or rather they too are registered, and we feel or see them as it were, and send out our own vibrations in answer. As the effects are also registered back again to us, I know the amount of comfort and help we send. Pause here. This is why you are being asked, I say it all the time, to go into meditation. Why the power of prayer, mantras, affirmations, that you're speaking in vibratory states out of your mouth is casting a sound wave to upstairs, wherever you want to exclaim upstairs to be, whatever density it is you're trying to reach. You are trying to raise your consciousness out in vibratory sound states to have your concerns, your things heard. But you cannot hear physically, unless you are clairaudient, the messages that are being received back. Some of us feel them. I know I have the knowing. I feel more than I see or hear. But I do have moments of clairaudience, of clear vision. I have those things. They're not my biggest gifts, and they're not ones that come all the time. So I have the knowing. I know when I feel things. I absorb energy. I'm the energy ball. Many of us have different abilities. But when you go into meditation and clear yourself, you're going to get your answers. And it's usually from your guides, the people that you're in your soul tribe that are passed on, that are guiding you here. Your divine complement is upstairs waiting and helping you. You have a whole massive, massive team upstairs. And some of us have a legion. I do. I don't take pride in that. It's a lot of egos, and even though ego is a lot different from what we experience ego to be here. Like, I have a lot of lone wolf guides who like to be in their own little corners and help me in certain specific ways, that they don't like to play nice with my major guides, who are all kind of sort of succinctly working in unison together and helping me in different aspects of my life. But then I have these other higher ended things that they don't like to work together. So it's like, all right, I need you guys to do this, and I need you guys to do that, and please steer me here. And I can't get that organized all the way if I don't go into meditation and tell them, hey guys, I love you. I love you. You're a part of me. Thank you. You chose me to be here, this aspect of my consciousness. So you got to help me here. I can't have you infighting upstairs, because you're not allowing the information to sort itself out through me and filter through me. That's the higher celestial guides that channel through me and the archangels. But my other guides that help me in other facets of my life, holy shit, they don't like to work together. And it's like, but you wouldn't know that if you don't go in and do the work on yourself to go into meditation and try it. And meditation doesn't mean to sit here. A lot of people cannot sit to meditate, but when you are in your highest passion, when I'm doing my artwork and I get lost in it, time elapses, you're meditating, you're channeling. When you're going on a walk and you're just taking in nature, you're meditating. It's a state of really not thinking. You're just doing. People will wash dishes, you zone out. When you're zoned out, you're meditating. And then something snaps you back, it's okay. If what has helped me out starting to learn how to meditate, like I'd read all these books behind me and it's like, okay, go into meditation. And then I'm supposed to remember the 5 pages worth of like how to go in and do this meditation. Well, if I don't hear it, I'm going to forget the words. I'm not good at memorizing shit. That's why I haven't been able to be indoctrinated. I have, and not to say I have a bad memory, it's just, so when attempting to meditate, start with guided meditation. You could do it for 10 minutes, you could do it for an hour. There's methods and modes, and so many people who do really excellent guided meditations. Start there. If you're lost, you don't know, you've tried, you can't quiet your mind's all over the place, it's a woo-woo thing for you, guided meditation, so that you can hear your higher guidance. You can hear your guides and all these spirits that are here to try to help you. You're never alone. You're physically possibly alone. I mean, I got my little animals here, but for a while, I want another human connection. But we're really never alone energetically. You're surrounded. Surrounded. Just know that. You don't have to believe me. I want you to go in and do it for yourself and see what comes out of it. And it's going to come different for everybody. I can't tell you. I just have a knowing. I have an instinct to feel energy, to know that when one vibration increases around me, I start crying because it's too high of a vibration and my energy is trying to meet it. And then I feel it and it's automatic emotion out of me. The atmosphere around me changes. When I'm not grounded, the light bulbs go crazy. Flickering of lights. I see things flickering. And other people don't see the flickering, but I do. And that's not poor eyesight. I mean, I do need glasses, but like things are flickering in my actual physical eyesight. So everybody picks up on things differently. That's why a lot of these meditations and a lot of books don't really work for me, because it's not of my vibratory state or the purpose of where I need it to be. Find things that heart align with you, that when you do it, you actually start feeling things. You're feeling vibratory states in your hands, in your feet, in your body. You're feeling it. You feel different when you come out of it. I've had many profound guided meditations, profound, where I felt completely energized and different from when I started. And it takes practice and it takes time. And that time for me took a few years, and taking some breaks in between those years to not get so hard at on myself that I didn't get anything, or I didn't see something, or it's just not working the right way from what it's being told to me, oh, you should see this and you should see that. Well, I didn't see any of that. They tell me to go to the Akashic records. You know, I try to I know I'm not supposed to see because it would infringe on my free will to see other timelines, but they'll show me little peaks and valleys of things. But when you're supposed to identify your other selves in that temple, wherever they bring you, depends on who's doing it. I'm only seeing myself as light. I don't see myself in form. I don't see myself in human form or in alien form. I only see light every time I see it. And nothing comes forward to give me any definition in the light. I'm just light. And for years, I would be like, okay, what is the fuck wrong with me? What is wrong with me that I can't see what these people want me to see? Nothing wrong. I'm just fucking light. There's nothing wrong. It's as easy as that. I am light. That's my energy. I don't have form in my higher selves. I'm just pure fucking light. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the human body, the human mind wants you to conceive something so you can oh, okay. But because my soul is so expansive and now being in the awareness of such things, now I'm like, oh, okay, that's me. I'm seeing myself. There's nothing wrong with that. But everybody sees something different and everybody experiences something different. So take what I'm just saying as elements of you're only going to know when you go inside yourself and you're doing the work and you're understanding how vibration and frequency works. Please pray. They do hear you. Again, you wrote your script, you wrote the roles for yourself, so some things you cannot escape. Catalysts are going to happen because you put them there for your greater soul advancement. You can't undo some of that stuff. And it doesn't matter in what timeline you wrote it in because it's going to happen regardless of a timeline. Because that was one thing that you needed to have to alter your life, to put you on a higher path. Even if you're on your highest timeline right in the moment now, you might have a higher timeline you're destined to be on. You're not there yet, but you're on a high one that you're cognizant of. And then some fucked up shit happens, and then you're tested a bunch, and then you go, and then things change, and you go on your higher path. It's all about your mindset. And thinking outside of the box. And I want you to all really understand what I am reading is very important because your conception of what you've been told, many people have described. I've been described this by my parents and by my birth mother, especially, that they are all in like a school that they're learning how to aid us. When Morgan and Ethan Cat passed away, I already knew one aspect of my soul will be a guide for them when they incarnate as human, whenever that time frame begins. I don't know. And I will probably, when I get up there, will know more intricate details to that story. But that one aspect of me is going to be their soul spirit guide, which I'm fucking happy about because I love those two to death in earth terms. But even these guys, Miss Freya, Mr. Odin, it'll be the same thing for them. I will be a guide for them when they are ready to ascend. And all of you are going to play a different role. When you're upstairs, you get to choose. There's your free choice. You get to choose what you would like to do. But remember, you are fractals into an infinite amount of different aspects of things. And you get to choose what experience you want to jump into in your fuller consciousness. I know I'm losing people. I'm trying not to lose you, but this is what they're basically saying in a simplistic form about what it is up there, or in a higher vibratory state. We were laid back into the grounds which surround the house, and there were found gardeners at work tending the flowers and fruit trees and doing the general work of a garden. He took us some distance around and along the walks, winding here and there, and through plantations of trees and shrubs, where birds were singing and small, pretty, furry animals played here and there. At length we came to a stream, and by it stood a stone arbor, which reminded me of a miniature temple of Egypt. The grounds were very extensive and all have a kind of relationship to the buildings, a kind of responsiveness. For instance, the trees are true trees and grow much as trees do on earth, but they have a kind of responsiveness to the building, and different kinds of trees respond more to one house than to the others, and help the effect and work for which that particular house was raised. So it is with the grouping of trees in the groves and the bordering flower beds of the paths and the arrangement of the streams and falls, which are all found in different parts of the grounds. All these things have been brought out with marvelous wisdom, and the effect produced is very beautiful. These houses have not been raised merely mechanically, but are the outcome, growth, if you will, of the action of the will of those high in rank in those realms. And so they are of a very powerful creative wills. Life of children. Quote, a certain building is reserved for the children who are stillborn and have never breathed the atmosphere of earth. These children are different from those who have been born alive and have breathed the earth atmosphere, even if only for a very few minutes. And for this reason, they require different treatment and are able sooner to imbibe the knowledge of these spheres. So they are sent to some special homes by themselves, where they are trained until they have progressed in mind and stature to such a degree that they are able to begin their new course of knowledge. Then, having become strong in heavenly purity and wisdom, they are taken in hand by the teachers who are in touch with the earth itself, and they are taught what they have not been able to learn before. When young children come over here, they are first schooled in this life and then to have to learn what experience they have lacked on earth. The more training they have acquired in the earth life, the sooner they are sent to complete it. Those who are stillborn have had no training at all. Nevertheless, they are children of earth, and as such, they must return and acquire this training. Not until it is safe for them to do so, however, and then under proper guardianship until they are competent to go alone. One who has lived a long and busy life on earth has less to learn of earth life when he comes over here, and he can progress to other studies. There are regions where there are many institutions mostly devoted to the study of the best ways of helping those on earth who are in doubt and perplexity as to the problems which stretch out into the realms beyond. I'm going to put a pause here for another second here. When I spoke to the medium about my birth mother, because at that point in time, after doing DNA tests and finding out my birth mother took her life before I was even able to meet her, I found in the means in which she did so, she did make it to heaven. Not all people that commit and do the heinous act of taking life of their own end up where people say they do, because it's not true. That was her soul contract. That's her act. She needed an out and she took it. Her job up there, and I want to say fifth density. I don't know if she's in fourth or fifth. That's her job. She's a guardian to kids that didn't come out or miscarried. And she's here with me. So just know that if a soul does take their lives in earth form, there's no guarantee. Again, every soul is a different story, different journey. They're not damnation to hell, because that's not truth. That didn't end up being for my mother, as she stands probably right next to me or behind, and she's behind me. She made it up there. She ascended. Probably not as far as where she wanted to be. And I'm sure she's waiting to come back to reincarnate in a body to play out the rest of her life. But I don't know if that means that she's coming to a third dimensional realm or a fourth dimensional realm because of her mission. Her mission was to birth me. That was one of her soul missions. It's beautiful. Do I wish she would have stayed? Of course. But it is what it is. And she's right there. Hi, Phoebe. So just know that there are a lot of people that are protecting those who didn't even make it through. And that, not to say, I know a lot of women, and I know a lot of my friends had a lot of soul births and things that, you know, women really don't need to go through. Just know that those souls served a purpose, even though that they didn't come out and breathe the life. They still held a very huge and momentous purpose, a greater teaching and learning for those people, for those women and men that had that happen to them. Huge mission. And know that they're being heavily taken care of. Other scenes. Our guides led us to one of those planes of heaven where manifestations from the higher heavens are sometimes given. The call goes forth and vast multitudes assemble. And then some of the glories of the highest spheres are manifested as well as it is possible in these lower realms. We received a message a short time ago of the arrival of a sister at the bridge who had come over from the further side where lie the regions of gloom, and I and another were sent to conduct her to this home. We went quickly and found our charge awaiting us. She was quite alone, for her attendants had left her thus in order that she might profit from a quiet period of meditation or reflection before beginning further in advance. When she opened her eyes, she looked up at us for some time in an inquiring manner. I addressed her as sister, and at that word her eyes began to fill with tears, and she wept bitterly. How do you know who or what I am? She said. We do not know who you are. We do know that you were and are always a child of our Father, and so always our sister. What else you are lies with you. You are either one whose face is turned toward the sunshine of his presence, or who will turn back across the bridge. She said, I dare not. It is all too horrible back there. Then I told her that for the present, she must try to forget those experiences until we had helped her. There is only one way onward. Nothing can be glossed over. Everything must be viewed and understood for what it is, and every act and word to the present time, God's justice acknowledged and God's love through all. and that it is the only onward and upward way. We told her all about the home to which she was being led, and in the midst of it all, she stopped suddenly and said she felt she could go no further, that she was afraid. But I urged, you must choose for you cannot remain where you are, and you will come the upward way, will you not? And we will lead you a sister's hand and give you a sister's love to help you on your way. In the midst of our conversation, she stopped suddenly and she said she felt again that she could go on no further. Why? We inquired. Are you tired? And she answered, no, afraid. When she questioned her, she told us the following. It seems that when the guardian at the other end of the bridge had heard her cry for help, far away in the gloom, he at once directed a ray of light into the direction and sent a messenger to help her. The spirit found her fainting by the side of a dark, murky stream, whose waters were foul and hot, and bore her to the gatehouse at the bridge. Here she was tended and revived and brought forward across the bridge, where we found her. Now it is chance that when the spirit worker had found her, she had felt a presence, but could not see anyone near. She therefore called aloud, may you be cursed if you touch me, thinking it was one of her old tormentors and companions in wickedness. Then she remembered no more until she recovered her senses again in the gatehouse. She had cursed one of the god's ministers, and she was afraid of the light because the words were evil. Truly, she did not know whom she had cursed, but a curse is a curse against whom ever so directed, and it lay upon her heart. This was against one of her fellow workers of the realms of light and love, and we saw that she would find no rest among us, and our services would little avail her until that wrong had been righted. So back to the bridge we went, and right across to the gatehouse at the further end. There we found the spirit helper who had brought her to that place, and she asked and obtained forgiveness. Indeed, he was awaiting us, for he was stronger than we and greater in wisdom, and he knew that she would compel herself to return. When she saw the face of the one against whom she had sinned, and heard his words of love and forgiveness, it showed her for the first time that whatever she had endured in the future, it would be sweet in the end, and each task done would earn its own blessing. That's beautiful. Odin. Judgment. One of our poor sisters inquired of our mother angel, where is the judge, and when is the judgment to take place? I am troubling at the thought of it, for I know my punishment will be a very dreadful one, and I know the worst, and get it over with. To this, the mother replied, my child, your judgment will take place whenever you desire it, and I can tell by your own words that it has already begun. For you own that your past life is worthy of punishment, and that is the first step in your judgment. As for the judge, well, she is here. For you yourself are the judge, and will mete out to yourself your own punishment. You will do this of your own free will by reviewing all the life you have lived. And as you bravely own up to one sin after another, so you will progress. Much of your judgment will have already inflicted upon yourself in the dark regions from which you have lately come. That punishment will indeed dreadful, but that is past and over, and what you have now to endure will be dreadful no longer. All dread should now be past. Painful, deeply painful, I fear it will be, but all through you will feel that he is leading you, and this more and more as you go on in the right way. But persisted the inquirer, I am perplexed because I do not see the throne of a great judge who will reward some and punish others. You will indeed someday see that throne, but not yet. The judgment you are thinking of is very different from what you imagine. But you should have no fear. And as you progress, you will learn more and understand more of God's great love. That is what perplexes many who come over here. They expect to find all set ready for their dismissal from the presence into torture and cannot understand things as they are. Others who have cultivated a good opinion of their deserts are much disappointed when they are given a lowly place, sometimes a very lowly place, and not ushered immediately into the presence of the enthroned Christ to be hailed with his well done. Oh, there are many surprises awaiting those who come over here, some of a very joyful kind and others the reverse. You are the judge, jury, and executioner of your own life. Why we should not be judging others and doing the healing on ourselves to forgive now, to let go now, and to do what was just spoken about in the now, present moment in your living life. Why? Why? Because you're not going to end up there if you do it now. You're not. You're moving forward. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You got to do the work. And if you do it now, in the now moment, you're going to bypass that in a sense. You're still going to have to review your life. You're still going to have to forgive and atone and repent for things that in the moment you knew not. Again, you're here for an experience, and some of those experiences, you were the devil in someone's story. You had to break a heart. You had to hurt somebody. You had to do something that enacted a catalyst for another person. If you take it and detach emotions out of all things and understand where the lessons are, the more you understand this in the now, the more you can clear it so you don't have to revisit it when you are ascending, and you're going to not have to sit in those states of judging yourself because you already did the work here to do so. You better not touch my pad, Mr. Odin, with the butt in the face. He likes to touch my keyboard and then things go cray-cray. Right, Odin? He said, yeah, I'm looking at myself, Mom. Difficulties of spirit communicators. And now let us see if we can explain a difficulty which is perplexing many investigators into psychic matters. We mean the difficulty they have in understanding why we do not give them exact information which they desire about one thing or another, which they have in their minds. You must try to realize that when we come down to here to you, we are not in our proper element, but are hampered with limitations which are now strange to us. For instance, we have to work according to the laws which are in vogue in the earth realm, or we could not make you understand what we wish to do or say. Then we often find that when anyone has his mind fixed on some particular person when he wishes to see or hear, or some special matter about which he wishes to inquire, we are limited by the straightening means at our disposal. Other reservoirs of power in the inquirer are closed, and those only are open to us which he himself has willed to be opened. And these are frequently not enough for us to work with. Then again, the activity of his will meets the activity of ours midway, as it were, and there is a clash, and the result is either confusion or nil. It is nearly always better to allow us to work in our own way, trustfully, and afterwards to examine critically what we managed to get through. If information on any particular point is desired, let that point be in your minds at times as you go about your daily occupation. We shall see it and take account of it, and if it is possible, useful, and lawful, we shall find opportunity and means sooner or later to answer it. If you ask a question while we are with you, manifesting in one way or another, do not demand, but just put your thoughts before us and then leave it to us to do what we can. Do not insist. You may be sure that as our desire is to help, we will do all we can. The power we use is our best described as magnetism, and by this, the vibrations of our minds are directed to your own. Your hand being placed against your head serves as a kind of magnet and reservoir in one and helps us. In our life in the Summerland, we endeavor to help both those who come over to us and also their friends still on earth. Indeed, the two phases of service are inseparable. For those who pass over here are often much distressed and so are unable to progress until they know that those they left behind are being helped from this side. So we often make excursions to Earth plane for this reason. It's like Bashar says, if you are in need of like clarity for me, I need clarity. Why is it every job that I get or every endeavor that I endure to my highest and greatest passion that I love to do, I'm not getting 3D abundance, and that I'm continuously in a cycle of I'm trying to attract a job, I'm trying to attract better for myself, and yet I keep getting hit in the wall with BS. Here, you're getting shit. You're getting as much as a McDonald's worker, but you're doing 25,000 times more than what a McDonald's worker do. And you're also in charge of life. These are the things that I need clarity on. And like, I know this is my purpose and I need to be here, but is there another avenue for me to explore? Please give me some clarity. And hopefully clarity will come, but I'm going to let it go and let them do their thing. You are never in the wrong place. You're always where you need to be. But let them do their work too. Don't force it. Names. What's in a name? Well, from our point of view, that also of the ancient wisdom of Egypt, based on data obtained on this side of the veil, there is a great deal in a name. Even in the repetition of some names, there is actual power and sometimes peril that we know now as we did not when we were on earth. And so we are acquired a reverence for the entity, the name, which to you would probably seem foolish. Nevertheless, it is partly for this reason that names do not come through to you so plentiful as many rather feeble investigators would wish. Also, the mere utterance and transmission of some of these names is, when we are in the earth region, a matter of more difficulty than you would perhaps deem. It is a subject, however, which is hard to explain to you, and only one which you will be able to understand when you have become more familiar with the fourth dimension, which obtains here, which term also we use for want of a better. We will just refer you to or 3 instances where and there leave the matter. One is the giving to Moses of the name of the great officer of the Supreme who visited him. Moses asked for that name and got it, and neither he nor anyone else to this day has been able to say what it means. Then the lesser angel who came to Jacob. Jacob asked for his name, and it was refused him. The angels who came to Abraham and to others in the Old Testament very seldom gave their names. Likewise, in the New Testament, most of the angels who came to minister to earth's dozens are simply so called, and when the name is given, as in the case of Gabriel, it is little understood as to its significance. Now, I'm going to tell you something very personal. I asked 3 years ago for my soul's name, and I was denied. They gave me a fugazi one. They gave me a test one. They gave me the hint in it is it's 2 parts. It's in two different syllables. They would not give it to me. They're like, you have to work for that shit, bitch. We're not giving it to you. And I think I know why now that I'm still not knowing my soul's name. Well, some people know it. And then I asked, what archangel am I? They won't give it to me. And that's because I'm coming to the realization that I have an entity of an archangel, but the collective works through me. So it's not just one of them, it's multiple of them. And they all work through me to deliver messages, but the ones that are actually a part of my essence, it's not just one it's plural, it is multiple. But I don't know exactly which essence is working through me. That is me. They won't tell me. I'm not supposed to know, and that's also to keep me safe. It gets frustrating because humans need tangible evidence and I don't have it. But at the same time, if you're keeping me safe, kudos to that. And I'll find out one day at one point in juncture of life, whether it be here or somewhere else. Other messenger. We are spiritual ministers from another sphere, where your own friends and your mother have visited from time to time. She and her friends come to us for instruction. We are glad to come and to know you at the request of your mother. Never imagine that we are troubled to come to this earth sphere, for although it does mean an experience of less brightness and environment than is our usual lot, yet the privilege counterbalances that more and more. We understand much that was not clear to us when we walked amidst the shadows on earth. And this we would say with all solemnity, let those who today amongst you are searching into the means of his divinity and the relation of this to his humanity. Do so fearlessly and reverently, for such are guided more than they know from these realms. Friend, we tell you with this some fearlessness and with great reverence also, that what goes by the name of orthodoxy among the Christians in the church on earth is not a true and fair presentation in many ways of the truth as we have come to know it here. Dreams. I was impressing on a man who was investigating the laws of psychology in the matter of vision and dreams. He wanted to find out what was the cause of certain dreams being prophetic, the connections between the dream itself and the incident, which is foreshadowed. He applied to me and told him that he must continue his investigation in his own mind, and if it were well, it would be given to him in understand. Zones. When we said the powers which watch over the world, we did not mean to localize these powers on one side of this planet, but to apply the all-enveloping watch which the heavenly powers keep about the sphere which is called Earth. These powers are resident in the zones of which the Earth itself is the center, and they lie in concentric circles around it. The inferior zones are those near the planet's surface and progress in power and glory as the distance is increased. And yet space must be enlarged in meaning when we apply to these spheres, for distance has not the same obstructive sense to us as it does to you. So we may, for the sake of clarity, put it thus. The earth is a center about which many spheres are, and is enclosed in all these spheres. Nos confunden. And the resonance in the earth life are potentially in touch with all those spheres, and actually so in ratio to the altitude spiritually considered, spiritually because these spheres are spiritual and not material. You will now have some idea of what prayer and aspiration and worship mean when they are the means of communion with the Creator and his high and holy ones, who, to put it in a way that you will understand, dwell in the highest or outmost of these spheres and include within himself. And these are all the zones within the highest zone or sphere. Degrees in spirit life. In a report from other great writer, we find the following message from the other side of the veil. When I passed to spirit life, I entered into the 4th degree of happiness. Each degree is divided into what may be denominated 15 compartments, Ashiana Dean. I was too young, of course, to know sin, but I was also too young to have advanced in spiritual progression. I am now in the 5th degree and hope very soon to enter the 6th with my mother. We have our homes, our fruits, birds, flowers, plants, trees, everything, in fact, that you have on earth, and as tangible to us as material things are to you. There is no sorrow in our home. It is only when we witness the sorrow and suffering of earth's inhabitants that we are unhappy. Every time we are permitted to make ourselves known to our earth friends, we are advanced. Our home was not made by hands, but by pure thoughts and good actions expressed in earthly life. From another noted spirit communicator, we find that life goes on the other side, much the same as it does on the earth plane. Often I have told you that this world is almost to completeness, the counterpart of earth and its inhabitants. Consequently, social and domestic relations ate very similar. Wedded bliss is numbered among the numerous joys that abound in the spirit world, but marriages in the spheres are not based upon the ceremonial, nor are they for the purpose of procreation and self-gratification, but rather for social interblendings and quickening of the spiritual activities. On earth, I was called a bachelor and retain such, yet if by it is meant individualized singleness, relative to connubial life. Still, I considered all things from the minutest monads to the most royal soul angels to be dual, and I believe men and women to be the 2 hemispheres of the sphere, and as positives and negatives corresponding to wisdom and love, they were designed for sacred unions. If these are based on selfishness, they necessarily terminate sooner or later. But if true and well fitted, the spiritual dominating when on earth, they continue on in our world of spirits. Ancient seers and sages, however, who have summered many thousand years in heaven, assured me that progressively inclined spirits so unfold, so approximate the divine, that ultimately their loves become universal, the love of each flowing out to all, as the sun shines upon all, and as God's life and love flow into all immortal intelligences. As we have explained in another chapter, the following excerpts from letters came from the author Elsa Barker from a disincarnate friend, Judge Hatch, who used the method of automatic writing for the purpose of communication. I should be very sorry if the reading of these letters of mine should cause foolishness and unthinking people to go spirit hunting, inviting into their human sphere the irresponsible and often lying elemental spirits, telling them not to do it. Do not be too sure that the entity which raps on your table or your cupboard is the spirit of your deceased uncle or grandfather. It may be a blind and very desirous entity, an eager consciousness trying to use you to hasten its own evolution, trying to get it into you or through you as to enjoy the earth and the coarser vibrations of the earth. It may not be able to harm you, but on the other hand, it may do you no good. It is strange, but many persons seem to be in regular Orthodox heaven, singing in white robes with crowns on their heads and with harps in their hands. There is a region which outsiders call the heaven country. There is also, they tell me, a fiery hell with at least the smell of brimstone, but I have not been there yet. Someday, when I feel strong, I will look in. Notwithstanding the companionship I have here, I sometimes regret my failure in holding onto the world, but regrets have less weight on this side, like our bodies. Do not fear death, but stay on earth as long as you can. You need to take certain precautions to protect yourself from those who press around me. You have only to lay a spell upon yourself night and morning. Nothing can get through that wall, nothing which you forbid your soul to entertain. You have nothing to fear if you protect yourself. The teacher showed me how to create garments such as I desired, to fix the pattern and shape clearly in my mind, to visualize it, and then by power to desire to draw the subtle matter of thought whirled around the pattern, so as to actually form the garment. Those people who think of their departed friends as being all wise, how disappointed they would be if they would know that the life on this side is only an extension of the life on earth. If the thoughts and desires they have been only for pleasures, the thoughts and desires here are likely to be the same. Many times I have seen men and women lying in a state of unconsciousness more profound than a deep sleep, their faces expressionless and uninteresting. I tried to awaken one or two of them, but was not successful. I returned and found them lying in the same lethargy. To my question as to why, the teacher replied, they are those who in the earth life denied the immortality of the soul after death. And will they never awaken? Yes, perhaps centuries, perhaps ages. Hence, when the irresistible law of rhythm shall draw them out of their sleep into incarnation, for the law of rebirth is one with the law of rhythm, I said, perhaps you will. Sorry, guys, I can't see shit right now. Perhaps you, with your great power, knowledge could succeed where I have failed. Will you not try to awaken this man? You know not what you ask, he replied. In order to counteract the law which holds him in sleep, the law of the spell he laid upon his own soul, when he wanted out of life demanding unconsciousness and annihilation, in order to counteract that law, I should have to put into operation a law still stronger, will, the potency of the will. Will you tell me your reason for asking me to do this? I admitted that it was scientific curiosity on my part. In that case, the teacher said, I am justified in using him as a demonstration of the power of the trained will. As far as he is concerned, he is not worth the amount of energy as will be necessary to arouse him from this spell which he laid upon himself ages ago. I see in the pale light around that recumbent form many pictures of the soul's past. I see that he not only denied immortality of the soul's consciousness, but he taught that doctrine of death to other men. He then awakened him, but by what method and by what words I am not permitted to tell you. Where am I? Said the man when he had awakened. You are where you always have been and always will be in eternity, said the teacher. And who are you? I am one who knows the workings of the law of rhythm, which drives the soul in and out of the gross matter and the consciousness of man into sleeping and waking. This man, by his misdirected will, had been temporarily able to transcend the law of immortality, even as a teacher, by his wisely directed will, transcended the mortal in himself. My soul sang within me at the glimpse of the godlike possibilities of the human mind. When one leaves the earth full of a great affection, and when the earthly love one does not forget the tie can hold for many years unawakened, you are on earth have forgotten so much of what you have learned here that you do not realize how your forgetfulness of us can throw us back upon ourselves. Interesting. reincarnation, which I don't necessarily now believe in the term because we're all incarnate. Many souls stay out here until they are as tired of this world as they were formerly tired of the earth, and then are driven back unconsciously by the irresistible force of rhythm. These are the unadvanced souls who are drawn to their parents by the force of karma and not by choice. Until you are willing to go in and out of dense matter, you will never learn to transcend matter. There are those who can stay in and out at will, and respectively speaking, as long as they choose. Those who do not believe in rebirth cannot forever escape the rhythm of rebirth, but they hold to their belief until the tide of rhythm sweeps them along with it and forces them into gross matter again, into which they go quite unprepared, carrying with them almost no memory of their life out here. They carried out here the memory of their earth life because they expected to carry it. Many persons out here sink into a sort of subjective bliss, which makes them indifferent as to what is going on upon the earth or in the heavens. Some souls would go back almost at once, which is a mistake. Unless one is young and still has a store of unused energy saved over from the last life, in going back to the earth too soon, one lacks the force of a strong rebound. In such cases, they live out only the unfinished part of their former lifespan. In speaking of these letters, the author says, the effect of these letters on me personally is removed entirely any fear of death, which I may ever have had, to strengthen my belief in immortality, to make life beyond the grave as vital, as real as life here in the sunshine. If they can give to even one another person the same sense of exultant immortality which they have given to me, I shall feed and feel repaid for my labor. To sum up truths told in these letters from heaven, we quote again from the message communicated to Reverend G. Vale Owen by the spiritual ministers from the spirit world. Be sure, friend, and tell others who will hear it, that this life which awaits you is not a mere bodiless dream in a twilight region somewhere beyond the real and the actual. No, it is strenuous and intense, this life of ours. It is filled with service and endeavors, crowned one after the other with success, of patient pressing onward, and of indomitable wills attuned each to the other, in comrade service from the Lord of love, whose life we sense and ensure, but whom we do not see, and whose home is too sublime for us to know. But we testify to you, friend, and to those who will think reverently of these things they cannot understand, that if wonder gives us pause and time again as we proceed, yet never do we lose that sense of presence, whose breathing is of love, and whose leading is as gentle as the mother's leading of her little child. So we, as you do, take his hand and do not fear. The music of the spheres is around us as we go from glory to glory beyond. Never faint nor grow weary of the road, for the mists are thinning as you proceed. The light strengthens into the further light, which issues onward into the unknown, which is never feared. So we tread greatly and humbly amid the glories of the planets and the heavens, of suns and spheres, and of the love of God. I'm so sad because the next one is the conclusion of this book, and oh no. But that was a fantastic letter from heaven. Don't fear. Love is near. So, guys, I know this is a little bit of a long one. Sending each and every one of you love, light, compassion, grace, shielding, and protective energy. Please go within, because you're going to find all your answers within. Be the shoulder. Freya! She showed up. Hi, Mama. My little cow kitty. Be the light. Seed your truths. Co-host number 4 is here, ready to be cute as ever. Who's cute? Who's cute? You're cute. You're cute. So much joy. And she's so small, it's hard to see, but he's really big and she's tiny. Father-daughter. Please don't fear. Do the work now so you can kind of sidestep a lot of this stuff that they're talking about. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Thank you for all your support and appreciation. I truly, really do appreciate it. Thank you. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.